Welcome to our meeting here. This is Tuesday, February 18th at 5:30 p.m. and our monthly Cumberland County meeting. Can I have the attendance taken, please?
Commissioner Cloutier.
I'm present.
Commissioner Caterina.
Here.
Chair Gordon.
Here.
Commissioner Smith.
Here.
And Commissioner Tyler is absent.
At this time in the meeting, those that wish, I would like you to stand and salute the flag. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, welcome. I'm glad to see a group of people here tonight. Very seldom do we have such a large contingency. We hope it's a very fruitful meeting and that we learn a lot. Our first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes.
I move passage of the CD 2502, the February 3rd, 2025 minutes.
Second.
I didn't catch the second part of you, both of them?
Just one, just the first one.
Okay. And you're holding, because you got something in
Right.
okay. So is anybody, so we're talking about CD 2502. Has anybody got any comments or? So can I have a motion to move as written?
So moved.
Yeah, just did.
Those in favor?
Aye.
So CD 2503, Jim, have you got some comments?
Yes, I would now move to adopt CD 25003, and I have an amendment I will be proposing. This happens to get a second.
Second.
And I would like to move to amend the text of the third page of the minutes related to comments from the executive staff. The current proposed minute says, Commissioner Cloutier commented that he had seen the City of Portland Chief of Police participate in mass arrests in Portland. That was exactly the opposite of what I actually said, I think. So I'm actually sure. So I now move to amend it to say, Commissioner Cloutier commented that he had seen the City of Portland Chief of Police prohibit Portland police participation in mass arrests conducted by ICE in Portland. That's my motion. I move to make that amendment to the text.
Do we have a second on that?
Second.
And I'll just say in support of that, the police chief at the time was Mike Chitwood, and I think I also observed that when our sheriff got up and explained the law enforcement idea behind why it simply never would make any sense for local law enforcement to try to administer the federal immigration law and practices, most of what he had to say was precisely what Mike Chitwood had to say 25 years ago. On the occasion of what happened was there was a new manager in town, and his idea of what to do about the number of brown people that were showing up at the soup kitchen to eat was to go down there and arrest them all and drag them off to the jail, which is what he did until really Olympia Snow interfered with the progress of his career in a substantial way, and all of those people were released. So that's why I'm pretty sure I didn't say that he participated. He did not. He was dead set against it. And I was also glad to hear the sheriff was also dead set against it. So that's the motion, is to change that minute.
Any further discussion on the amendment? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any further discussion on the minutes?
Nope.
So the motion, I hope, will now read that we accept the minutes as amended.
Yes. And I have a copy of what I just.
Can I have a
somewhat-
second on that?
Oh, sorry,
Oh, no, it
second.
was, yeah, it was, the main motion was made and then it was amended, so that's, yeah, okay.
So those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It passes, thank you. All right, next is informational reports. There's no votes required here, but we need a presentation, and I believe Bill, is Bill here?
Bill is here.
Mr. Truant. Information presentation, Facilities Department.
Well, Bill's queuing this up. Each month, we try to highlight a department within county government to give an overview of what they're working on and what they're responsible for. So February is Bill's turn for the Facilities Department, and he's gonna run us through a couple of slides in the slide deck here to encapsulate what the Facilities Department does for Cumberland County.
All right, well, my name is Bill Trufant, Facilities Director of Cumberland County, if you don't. And this is a presentation of our department. So, I guess first thing I would say is our Facilities Department is all-encompassing. We have 4 major departments, and we basically interact with, I would say, 90% of the staff on a daily basis. Me, not personally 90%, but my staff has interaction.
You might wanna get closer
Sorry.
or at least hold it.
Sorry, yeah, I'm not holding it, I'm good. Yeah, stay right here. So,
Oh, Bill, I think he wants you to hold the mic so they can get
do
recorded.
you want me to hold the mic? Okay. All right, I'll hold the mic. All right, so our objectives, all right? We want to provide a safe and positive experience while visiting the county properties and leave a lasting first impression. That's first and foremost. When you walk into a county building, you want to be, one, impressed of what you see and know that your tax dollars are going to something that is that provides a lasting first impression. Provide suitable workspaces for all county employees. We also adhere to all specialty needs for individuals. This includes our state tenants, which I'll get into in a few minutes. We maintain existing buildings, infrastructure while staying within budget constraints. And we also maintain a county fleet to ensure safe operation by our Sheriff's Department employees and other staff members that use all fleet vehicles. So like I said before, we have facilities divisions. Our maintenance division is responsible for all maintenance, HVAC repair, plumbing, painting, carpentry in the buildings, and parking garage. That's a big thing. Sometimes we forget about the parking garage. That actually needs maintenance. We don't have people park there and let it go. We need to maintain that. We're responsible for snow removal operations in the winter in the grounds, and we beautify the grounds in the summer with the help of our custodial staff. Currently, we have 11 full-time maintenance personnel, and they're scattered throughout the county. Our custodial services, they're responsible for the care and cleaning of our county-owned properties, and that includes basic cleaning, disinfecting, restrooms, courtrooms, common spaces, and upkeep of the floor finishes in the spaces that require the floor finishing. We currently have 8 full-time custodians who share the cleaning throughout our county buildings. Come on. Come on. Jeez. Our electrical division is another one of our very important divisions that are within the facility department. We maintain all the critical systems that operate within the county. We also, which includes our backup power systems, that's UPSs, that is generators, access controls, lighting, and building surveillance. That's not just in one building, that's throughout the county. We currently have 3 full-time master electricians that handle this, so you can imagine the amount of properties that we operate, the amount of systems that we control. At times it is daunting, but I have 3 fantastic electricians on staff. Our fleet services, we are responsible for the care and maintenance of all county-owned vehicles and equipment. That includes the Sheriff Department cruisers, command vehicles, general purpose units, and snow operation equipment. As you can see, the past couple weeks, we've had a lot of snow that we haven't been used to in a couple years, so having this fleet service work on that saves us a lot of money in the long run. We're responsible for obviously helping the Sheriff Department procure new vehicles and their setups. We work with the captain in getting the vehicles of what they need when. We currently have 1 full-time fleet with 1 vacancy, and they're basically responsible for 150 assets and those are scattered throughout the county as well. Come on. So that's basically our department setup. So basically, it's broken down to a facilities director, a deputy director, and runs the courthouse, which is broken down into 2 buildings, the county side and the state side. We have a fleet division, obviously, garage, custodial services, our EMA center, which I'll touch on in a little bit, electrical division, our jail division, and then basically our courthouse staff that do maintenance and custodial services. So, to start it off, the county jail and the sheriff's department complex. We have a little over 14 acres of campus with about 163,000 square feet of occupied space. That's a large area. We have 6 full-time maintenance custodial employees, 2 full-time fleet employees, and 2 full-time electricians that can be mobilized at any time. Most of our electrical services are based out of the jail because of surveillance, door locks, access controls, and just general all-purpose. It's a 24/7 operation. We need to make sure that the power, data, and everything that has to do with the safety and security of the people that are there are at the forefront at all times. Our responsibilities include all the trade work, which is plumbing, electrical, carpentry, and custodial, along with the exterior work of plowing, treating roadways, landscaping, general upkeep, and then also, like I touched on before, complete vehicle service work for all of our fleet. So, recent upgrades. Right now we're in I would say, late 3rd quarter, early 4th quarter of our jail medical expansion. I would say when I wrote this 2 weeks ago, we're at 65%. I'd say we're close to 75% right now. Hopefully end of spring, I would say spring, end of April, I'm hoping. But we know how weather and construction can go sometimes. It gets delayed. Door control upgrade, we are in the midst of that right now, of doing the infrastructure backbone installation, so that way we can upgrade that 30-plus-year-old access controls, which makes it easier for the jail staff to operate. And then we basically, this summer, just replaced the roof at the LEC. That was original. We really needed it done. Come on. So, Joe, come on. Just a couple pictures, basically foundation work, the negative pressure cell, the roofing, and then just basically the roof structure. It is a lot farther than this, so when I say 75%, this probably is 40% of when this was. All right, our courthouse. The courthouse basically is one building, but we look at it as 2. There's the county building, which is 1910-ish, and the state side of the building, which is 1993, along with our parking garage that's across the street. A little over 1.5 acres with about 228,000 square feet of occupied space. 5 full-time maintenance employees, 1 full-time electrician, and 6 full-time custodians. Same responsibilities as at the jail, but it's a lot tighter space to do it within. This is in town. We're battling with city for sidewalk space to put snow. We're battling with the city where they park stuff. All in all, we do a very good job of working together, making this place operational. It's a really tight area for parking, so we try to work with them, especially in the winter months. So, like I said before, we have a state partnership due to our lease that we currently have. We work together in purchasing for everything that has to do with this courthouse. So if we have items that we need to buy in bulk, we work with them to split the funding. That's already predetermined in the lease that we have. The maintenance custodial costs for employees and supplies are shared. So basically, in their lease, they are paying for 2 full-time maintenance folks and 2 full-time custodians. That comes out of that lease as well. And the county uses the Marshal Service for security, which is provided by the judicial branch for this building. So basically, during business hours of 8 to 4, the Marshal Service is our security. Recent upgrades. We just kicked off the air handler replacement with the controls. That has been long overdue in this building. As you can see in this room, sometimes it's either I call it the 3 bears. It's either too hot or too cold. It's never just right. Mm-hmm. So parking garage phase 1 we completed October-ish. And then the courtroom upgrades we do every year in conjunction with the state for a capital. I would say we're probably 2 courtrooms left to do to fully upgrade it to today's standards. Just a few pictures. Obviously, phase 1 was tackling the center picture of the 5th floor of the parking garage with a new rubber membrane. Courtroom upgrades. The sign is there because we had to update the sign due to an incident that happened, and a lighting upgrade in the courtroom. Wyndham Complex. This is where our 911 center and emergency management agency is currently located, which that's going to change soon. It's a little over 4 acres, 8,000 square feet of occupied space, 1 full-time maintenance employee, 1 custodian. Same thing. All interior work, plumbing, electrical, exterior work, plowing, treating. This is also a 24/7 operation, so maybe not as big as the jail complex, but just as important. We try to make sure that all the 3 shifts, when they come into work and leave work, can enter the building safe and leave safe. That's our main priority. Jeez. Recent upgrades, dispatch center, left is before, right is a updated finish. The asphalt driveway was massive. If anybody was up there in the past year and a half, they would have noticed that it was crowned inappropriately and full of potholes. Now it's really nice, and it plows a lot better. Love technology, huh? Northport, okay, this is our new building, 33,000 square feet approximately. We're anticipating 1 full-time employee for maintenance, 1 full-time custodial. The difference here is that the lease that we pay for this building, we are not responsible for any exterior work. All exterior work is through the association fee that we pay every month, so we are solely responsible for the confines of those walls. Everything internally is ours. Everything externally, obviously outside of the windows, and those 2 light poles on the front and back are all belong to the association. These are just some work on the inside. Bathrooms, new wiring, carpeting. One thing that we do and we kind of lose sight of sometimes is to assist the cross-insurance arena with some of their upgrades. I've worked with the manager and Mike LeConte on a couple projects. The biggest one we did that was this past year was swapping the benches. For years, I'm not sure why they designed it this way, but the benches were opposite of the locker rooms, which to me is kind of odd, but the manager approved it, we swapped it around, and along, This is also with, I wanted to show the dasher boards that were also purchased, so this is all brand new. Dasher boards, glass, swap the benches, and then lastly is the new sign that was put in, I want to say this summer. And that is it. I thank you for your time. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Do we have any questions?
Just have one question. Thank you for all the information and also the breadth and depth of what you're responsible for. Clearly, it's a large areas, buildings, assets. The one slide you had, 1 tech for 150 assets, which I think meant cars in the slide.
Yep.
As you were talking about,
Sure.
cars. So 1 tech for 150
Yes.
cars. That seems like, are we maybe needing more techs? Because that's a lot of cars for one person to work on.
It is. So we currently have 1 vacancy, so 1 currently is working on those.
Okay.
We're not working all of those at the same time. The predominant ones we work on are normal wear and tear on the sheriff's department's vehicles,
Yep.
breakdowns of winter operations. So it would be broken to 2 people, but a lot of these assets aren't used as often, so I don't want to say they don't need as much attention
Okay,
because we already have these pre-scheduled.
yeah,
The ones that need the most attention are the ones that get the most mileage.
sure, makes sense.
Normal wear and tear. Anything that's bigger than an engine replacement or a transmission replacement, we can do in-house.
Yeah,
Those larger items, warranty items,
yeah,
insurance claims, we send out.
Okay.
But we're pretty much an all-inclusive garage.
That's great. It's nice to have that kind of ability to take care of the assets that we invest in and, you know, try to keep them
We
going.
are so very fortunate that the fleet person we have right now
Yeah.
will always go the extra mile for anyone that uses a county vehicle.
That's great. And do you have specialized software to track all that stuff, or do you just use Excel spreadsheets, or?
So it's funny you asked that. I think one of the items that's on tonight is to expand on that, because what we currently use isn't really, it's not used as well as it should, and is not capable of tracking what we need to track. And one of the things on tonight's agenda is to be able to expand on that. So currently, no. Currently, it is a Excel form system,
Okay,
but what we're looking to go towards
sure,
is not.
right. Makes sense.
Yeah, it's more of a financial tracking as well.
Understood. Great. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Does anybody else have a comment? Jim?
Off the top of your head, what's the total headcount of employees that are in your operation?
Oh, I'd have to go through my slides and count. I would say like,
That's why I said off the top.
yeah, no, I'm like 26-ish, I'd say.
60,
26,
26?
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of space. I'm very fortunate to have the staff that I have. A lot of them have been here not very long. I've only have a few that have a lot of institutional knowledge. So watching them grow with the people that have been here a while, it's pretty rewarding. And the pride that they take in their work too is fantastic.
Well, progress marches on. When I was first in this building, this part of the building didn't exist. And one of the things that happened every year was the whole custodial staff had to polish the brass of the doorknobs and that. Had to strip the wax off of all of the oak doors and other stuff and retreat it. So it was, I mean, why they did that every year, I have no idea.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough, yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that now, that's for sure.
Anybody have any further
No,
comments?
I don't have any questions because I haven't been here long enough to have any, but I just want to thank you. It's amazing, the size of the operation, so.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, Bill, I appreciate that.
Awesome, thank you.
The next informational report is from Teresa of our Finance Department.
Yes, so the report is provided in the pamphlet, and it's through the end of December, so halfway through the year. And when you look through it, most of the departments are right where we expected them to be at the 50%. There's the IT that's a little over as anticipated because they pay a lot of their subscriptions up front, and the subscription costs are killing us, so that's not a surprise on that, and it's still, everything is anticipated. There's nothing that jumped out or anything out of the ordinary with it. So if you have any specific questions, I'm happy to answer them, but there was nothing jumping out at me with that, so.
Patty?
I have one question. Do you see any trends? You said nothing's jumping out, but as you see the first quarter, do you see any trend building or things that you're going to keep your eye on for the second, third, fourth quarter?
There was a little bit of the cleaning is a little bit higher on that, and some of the expected fees for probate that's going a little bit higher, but nothing that was expected, nothing that wasn't expected, so.
And when we switch over to a new building, how is that going to affect the kind of the budget and some of the things around utilities and such? Is that something you're prepared for?
That is something that Alex is working on and that we are definitely preparing.
I'll wait till second and third quarter, then I don't need to,
Ask
I
about-
don't need to add more tonight. We have a lot going on, but I just want to make sure we have our eyes on that. Clearly, utilities will start to jump up as we go through the year, so.
That is
We're
something
in
that
good
they're
hands. Great, thank you.
preparing, yes.
Any further questions, comments? No. Well, thank you very much, Teresa. I appreciate that. Next, we have Amy. United Way?
Oh, no.
No.
No?
Were you gonna give a hiring, update?
Oh, I can. I saw United Way.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
right, right.
No, the United Way item is, in your packets this evening, but there's no action, it's informational only.
Hiring update. We currently have approximately 20 non-union positions opening in various stages of hiring. The retention rate is really good in the non-union group. Patrol, we have 4 deputies in process. We just hired 2 last week. We have another 2 coming. CID captain is on the last leg of his hiring, so I'm hoping that he will start soon. Dispatch, we have about 2 openings currently. There still is a higher than normal retention level in dispatch turnover, but I think that's because of the extensive training. And then in the jail, that's where we've spent a lot of our time in hiring. We currently have 70 correction officers of the funded 86. We have 57 applicants that are in process, 11 of which are in the back stages, in the physical stages. And so typically, that's about an 80% hiring, which is great. And then the remainder are mostly in polygraph and background. But we're still having candidates come in. We have, over the past 3-day weekend, we had 8 more candidates apply. We're interviewing 14 additional ones. So last year, we kind of had a drop-off after the first of the year. We don't see that drop-off, which has been great. And that's kind of where we are in the hiring process.
Comments?
Just want to say thank you for all the efforts. Clearly, it's, how we get work done is through people, and quality people coming to work for the county is always our first aim.
Yeah.
Can you attribute the reasons why we're getting people continuing to come to the county in terms of, I know the efforts, we've done a lot of different things to attract folks, different ways. Have you noticed anything in particular that's been, you think, successful?
I just think our current job application process through Jazz HR and through Job Target, those are our significant pushes. We get a lot of resumes for all jobs. And Jim's on it, he sees them coming in every day, so do I. And I think that has really the outreach in terms of those ads on the job boards. In addition to that, they get refreshed every 30 days. So
Great.
as you can imagine, there's a
Yeah.
lot of jobs out there, but ours every 30 days goes to the top of the job board. So I think visibly seeing that, we've done some advertising on radio ads that I think have been successful. And we've also done advertising on apps on the computer, way beyond my league, but that's what I have staff for that understands that. So, yes, so they do all those. So I think we've done a really good job in terms of outreach.
I have just one last request, maybe not for this evening, but, going forward to, in this year, is to understand better what the industry retention and turnover rates are per, kind of category. You mentioned dispatch. Right now, it's a little bit higher because it is intensive training. It's a highly stressful job, like many others in the county. And so I'd love to know, like, kind of industry-wide, nationally-wide, what those, and I don't need to know tonight, but just to report out to us in terms of where is our retention rate within dispatch, in the jail, or, all the other areas that we hire, just so that we know that we're, like, in the industry standard, or we're above or below. I'd be curious to know that.
Yeah,
at
and
future
really, we have put a lot of time and effort on the retention, because as you can imagine,
Sure.
we spend a lot of time and effort on hiring.
Right.
The year before, we hired 80 people. Last year, we hired 100 new employees. And if you can think of that in terms of how many employees we have in the county, which is 370, that's a lot of people to hire. And so that does show there's some pretty extensive turnover in some departments, and that's primarily the jail and dispatch. But I'll be glad to get those
Yeah, I'm just
rates
curious how we,
industry-wide.
compare nationally.
Yeah,
Or, statewide or something, just to have a sense of where we're
I
going.
can do that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and Amy, I agree. Thanks for asking that. That was one of my questions was, the retention rates. And another thing I'd be interested in knowing is just comparable salaries, if you probably have access to that, how we
Yep.
do compared to others,
Yeah.
not just in the state, but regionally or whatever.
Yeah, and we have all those, as you're aware, we're in for contract negotiations right now.
Yes,
With
yeah.
all the unions, and
Yeah.
so we have all those comp rates.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
I'd be glad to share that.
Yep, thanks.
This is, Amy, I appreciate the report, and I was, when you mentioned the jail, I think you said that there was like 70 out of 86 funded positions that are filled at the moment. Is that about right?
Yes,
Okay. And of course, we're now 8 months through the budget year, right? So how, is that about what the ratio has been for the last 8 months, or has it been different than that?
unfortunately, that's been about the consistent number that we've had. Last October, we had 68. So we do have, over the last several years, we've had some significant turnover at the jail. Not only with the new hires, but also through attrition and existing correction officers. And it's bigger than correction officers, but that's really where we're hiring into. So that's been hitting us pretty hard. So I'll give some examples. I have some stats. Since 2022, we've hired 84 correction officers, and of which 38 have resigned or been terminated for a variety of different reasons.
That's about half, right?
Yeah, so that's the trend, that kind of is kind of the retention rate of what we're seeing. But if you go prior to that, around COVID time, 2020 to date, we had an additional 80 correction officers separate from Cumberland County from 2020 to date. And so for a total of 118 leaving as correction officers. So that's a lot. So we are playing a lot of catch-up from COVID. We are playing a lot of catch-up with just the turnover. So we've spent a significant amount of time.
So as we're sitting here today, and I guess I'll ask Teresa if I'm allowed, I assume I am. If we have like 16 unfilled funded vacancies now, and we've had those for more or less for the last 8 months, is there any reluctance at this point to continue to recruit people to at least get to the funded levels? And
I don't have it. I've not been given that guidance at all. In fact, we still continue to put in 110% in trying to hire people. I think it's important, so.
We're actually, the budget that's before you this evening actually has additional correction officers to be funded in it. Not additional over that 86.
so we've never been able, we haven't been able in the last couple of years to get to the 86, say nothing about it beyond that, right?
Correct.
All right. Do you happen to remember how many more, or how many positions are proposed to be funded tonight for the next year?
9.
9 more?
9 correction officers and 2 sergeants.
Well, all right, so, there's a crowd here, of course, but, it continues to be a challenge.
Amy, quick question.
Yeah.
Have we done a study and follow-up on why people are leaving? Particularly
Yeah.
people who are newly hired?
Yes, and we've shared that at,
Okay.
with the management team as well as the union representatives. A couple of things, I'll just do the top 5.
Yep.
Is workload and work-life balance
Yeah.
is a pretty significant. I've tried my best every time someone has left to have an exit interview with each individual with the same set of questions, but primarily try and get to the root cause of why people are leaving, because it is a significant expense to hire people and train people and then lose them. Plus, it's a lot of hiring effort, not just from HR, but from IT and finance and facilities and particularly jail leadership, having to train. And so that continued turnover does have a significant impact on several departments. And speaking on that same, it's force overs, shift work. People have left for other job opportunities, even for less money, so that they could have the Monday through Friday job. The next item, which was significant, was training. And when I've asked, they've felt that they didn't get adequate training, mentoring, or given enough resources to be successful. Number 3 was work environment and the physical surroundings, as you can imagine. There's not a lot you can change with the jail, but I think with the new hires in particular, that's who I was targeting on who was leaving and trying to get that input. They didn't fully understand the scope of the job and what it entails, and their inability to change their schedule. So when you hire people that have never really worked in a 24/7 operation, working afternoon shift or midnight shift is tough. And no weekends, when you're a new person coming in, you don't get the Monday through Friday with weekends off, day shift. I mean, you get the shift that's open. The next is work environment and culture.
Yep.
There seems to, the feedback that I've gotten is there's a lack of collaboration, not enough resources for the new hires, disrespectful, and as a whole, the community is angry for a variety of reasons that I really can't speak to. And then the next couple, which is a lower percentage, was lack and limited communication, update of policies, relies on the rumor mill for information. And then the last 2 was career advancement. Those are
Right.
smaller percentages, about 5%. Moving to new opportunities either within the sheriff's office or even within Cumberland County. So we've had people go to patrol, or we've had one come to HR, so you've had some turnover because of that. And then some, the lower percentages, the high cost of living and wanting to live closer to their family. So that's kind of a summary of what I've done so far with exit interviews.
I just have a quick follow-up on that, and that has to do with the internal work environment, culture, I've just got these notes here. Has management been working with improving that? Because it would be a win for everyone who works in there, because
Yeah,
then
and
they could
that's not
get more.
something that I oversee,
No, I know
yeah,
that, but I
so-
just wondered if you knew more about it, because if we could obviously have full employment in there, then there wouldn't be as much of the holdover and whatever. So that just jumped out at me like, wow, if we could improve work environment and culture, to hold on to these,
agree.
retain some of these people. So
I agree.
I just was wondering what was going on with that. That's all.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Any other comments? Thank you very much, Amy.
You're welcome.
Appreciate the call, yeah. It's a struggle, and we recognize that for a long time. All right, the next item is comments from the public. I will remind the public that, of a couple of things. One is that there's a 3-minute limit per speaker. And Jim, can I have you be the timer? And I will also remind people that, because I have a suspicion of what maybe some of the discussion will be, is that labor law prohibits the discussion of negotiated items outside of the negotiation table. And so this is not the appropriate forum. Our negotiators are who speak for us, and the items that you talk about, we are only advised of them as a briefing. So I put that there. If people are going to start to get down that road, I may push you off to the side and say, wait a minute, you got to move on to another topic. With that, if there's anybody that would like to address us, please. And I would ask you to state your name and where you're from.
Greetings. Dear distinguished Cumberland County Commissioners, my name is William Doyle, and I currently serve as the NCU Executive Director. Firstly, thank you for your time tonight, and thank you for your service, and congratulations to the new commissioners that had come on board. Last time I spoke before this body, there were some previous commissioners here. So thank you again for your service. As a former elected official myself, I understand the challenges of your position. You know, when you look at the budget, you look at the prevailing needs of your staff, you look at the prevailing needs of the community. I understand it. Since 2011, the NCU has represented the hard work and women of Cumberland County Corrections Bargaining Unit. During this time, the NCU has appeared before your body several times, alerting you to the challenges facing our members. In May of 2023, the NCU sent your board a letter opposing the county manager's budget and the planned unfunded positions. County commissioners approved said budget. The NCU noticed in your current proposed manager's budget again, the county is once again balancing the budget on the backs of the corrections positions. On the back of the corrections bargaining unit. The proposed budget again keeps the 48 positions unfunded, but that might have changed. I haven't gotten the update that was just mentioned. From the outside looking in, the NCU asserts that your administration has no plan to return to full crew complement at the jail. The men and women working at the county jail deserve better. They deserve to see their families. They deserve to have time off. They deserve a livable wage. You're losing employees for a variety of reasons, but the most imperative is the work-life balance. That's something I agree with the administration on. What's not taken into account is the fact the exit interviews don't take into account pay. And more importantly, it's not asked on the surveys that were presented to the union. It's not asked whether pay was a factor in their leaving. The bargaining unit members are significantly outnumbered, understaffed, and tired. Recently, at a prison in New York and Massachusetts suffering from short staffing, had a prison riot which injured several correctional staff and caused approximately $1 million in damage. Correctional bargaining unit members have seen the county commissioners discount our requests, our pleas, and alerts of understaffing for over 6 years. It's easy to blame COVID, but the staffing shortages have existed prior to COVID. While the NCU and the unit members know you have to be concerned with the budget on behalf of the taxpayers, our members, their families, and the taxpayers ask, when are you going to be concerned with the safety and the security of the staff at the jail? To date, the county commissioners have failed to hold the jail administration accountable for the 6 years of operational challenges.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Giovanna Peruzzi, and I'm the labor representative assigned to represent NCU members at the Cumberland County Jail. Though I have written to your group several times without any meaningful response, I realize that this may not be the best first in-person meeting we could have had. Though my words tonight may be strong, I do want to express my hope that we can meet again one day under more pleasant circumstances. Since taking over coverage of NCU's Cumberland County unit, I've been made acutely aware of the issues this unit is facing. During the time I've been representing this group, no progress has been made to alleviate the staffing crisis, despite the multitude of ways the NCU has attempted to engage with the county to make progress on retention and hiring. I want to be very clear with you that the situation you have on your hands is a dangerous one. Though I may be a stranger to you, I am no stranger to the field of corrections, or the toll it takes on employees and their families. And I can tell you without a doubt that your jail is dangerously understaffed. Currently, this facility is operating with a fraction of the staff it needs to function safely. My members are working multiple overtime shifts per week and are doing work that was previously done by 2 or 3 staff members, often without adequate rest in between shifts, and there is no relief in sight. Since the day I began representing this group, I've been told about all these new hires in the pipeline, which is nice. I know Amy and the HR department are doing a ton of work on recruiting people, but a pipeline of new hires does nothing to help if there's a parallel pipeline of seasoned correctional officers flowing out the back door, often to higher paying employment elsewhere. Just like not everyone is cut out to be a brain surgeon or a doctor, not everyone is cut out to be a correctional officer. My members are exhausted, and they are working in unsafe conditions due to the failings of this administration and the failure to invest adequately in the jail. Being no stranger to corrections, I am also no stranger to the fact that no one wants to think about incarceration. It's ugly and scary. No one wants to acknowledge what goes on in jails or think about the staff who work there until something goes wrong, until someone gets hurt, until a riot costs thousands in damage, until a resident becomes a victim, or until a staff person dies. Even then, most do not want to think about it beyond figuring out what it takes to find a scapegoat to atone for the failings of their community. We are here today to advocate for the commissioners of Cumberland County to do better. Though no one wants to admit it, correctional officers are the backbone of a lawful society. You simply cannot have law and order in your community without a place to house and hopefully rehabilitate those who break society's laws, and you cannot have those spaces without staff to work them. Please don't wait for a tragedy to occur. My members are doing their jobs, and we're asking you to do yours and act to safely staff this facility. Please stop balancing your budget on the backs of my members. Thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Cody Bellier. I'm the Vice President of the union down at the jail. I can answer your first question. Knox County is actually the highest paid jail in the state. They're $1.50 more than us, and they have about 35 to 40 inmates in their jail. I also want to start reading an email. It was more of a frustration email and pleading for help rather than filing a useless grievance that we all know will get filed and not go anywhere. Tonight on the late shift, we are below staffing levels that anyone in this email can call safe. We have the A supervisor being the A rover, who is also giving the hospital detail breaks, which I was at. We have intake running below minimum staffing while also giving breaks to our SHU unit, which is also below minimum staffing, running with one officer. I also want to mention that intake is fully open and accepting all arrests, so one officer has to handle checks, booking, and processing the rest by themselves. SHU is a mental health unit, as we all know, and we have one person in there running it with no one available to respond if something were to happen. We have no one sitting on this ever so dangerous and high-profile one-on-one that we have, but when we have bodies to do so, we will hold over for this one-on-one. I understand the easy solution is to say that we just need to hire more bodies, and I appreciate everyone trying their hardest to get bodies in through the door. But what we can't have is can't we have a solution and get some of our admin in the building when staffing is this critical? I understand all of you have been doing this for decades and have earned the spots all of you are in and deserve your weekends off. But don't people that are stuck here for 16 hours on the weekends deserve to feel somewhat safe when they are coming to work? I spoke with multiple lieutenants and asked how this is okay to run tonight. They responded that they were told to give a call if anything happens. Isn't that what we are doing now when they call and tell you that these staffing levels are so low? Aren't they calling you asking for help at that moment? If the lieutenants were to call when something happens, that may be too late. We have lieutenants that come in on their days off and do work. But this email I also wrote back in 2022 at 2:45 in the morning. This past Saturday, we had the same exact thing, same exact staffing levels, and if the incident that happened on Monday where 4 corrections officers had to fight an 80-pound girl and she got the better of them, the one guy in intake would have got hurt, and we were told by our corrections captain to call Portland if something happens. So we're now involving Portland PD to help us with our responses. We've also been told by multiple new hires, one kid recently that is from Scotland, he was told that he could have a unpaid leave to attend the birth of his first child, and our captains are telling him that might not be able to be accommodated. So that's some of the stuff that Amy leaves out. I don't know if it's on purpose or not, but it's some of the things that we have to deal with on a daily basis. So I hope you take our information serious.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is William Lawson. I've been employed at the jail for 28 plus years. The last 5 years have been very tiring. It hasn't stopped. 2+ forced overs a week. We're all very tired. 5 years ago, Sheriff Joyce gave an interview to Channel 6 where he made the reference that it becomes less safe when you force people to work over. It is so true. We are so lucky that we haven't had any more serious incidents happen. Moving on, it is now February, and just last week we were told if you don't already have approved time off this summer, then no time will be allowed. I've earned the right to have 5 weeks off a year, and to tell me and others that you will not be allowed a summer vacation or any sort is wrong and further driving morale down the toilet. There are a number of reasons that is causing this. For 5+ years, we have warned that there is a shortage of qualified commissioned officers that are gun carriers to work transports and hospital details. The county has continually ignored our warnings and pleas for retention of current officers and training of new ones. Because of these never-ending forced overtimes, more have given up their status as armed officers because there was more responsibility, risk, training, and little incentive to continue on. Trying to entice new officers to take on these tremendous responsibilities is difficult. Time and time again, we have requested a stipend or incentive and have been brushed aside and ignored. We have been limping along the past year and a half, but it is now critical to bolster the ranks with trained individuals, as we have had a number of officers out dealing with serious health issues with no replacements available. Now is the time for tangible incentives to draw in and retain commissioned officers. While the focus of my time this evening has been about dealing with the lack of trained armed officers, I have to mention that trying to recruit better quality trainees needs to happen. A local HR for a county stated that they needed to offer a substantial raise because they were tired of hiring fast food quality workers. Our own HR stated to me personally that Cumberland County is following the warm body doctrine. Standards have dropped and so has morale. There is little accountability as the retention of these new people is more important than work quality and following the rules. Thank you.
Thank you, William.
Morning, good evening. Sorry, I can't remember what day it is. So my name's Robert Ryder. I've been employed for 34 years, just completed that. And I've been up here before in front of you, and I had to really call out for you guys to pay attention to me because you wouldn't even make eye contact with me. You might have remembered me. I had a big beard last time. I'm going to ask you if you could just really pay attention to what I'm saying. What you said about investing in the facility is great, but you need to invest in the people that work there because we're the people who make that place work. And we always make it work, no matter how many staff we have. Last weekend, we were so short, we are lucky people did not get hurt. Because as soon as we have something kick off, I mean, you're talking about excessive use of forces because the situation just gets out of control. And then you end up paying through the risk pool. But that's separate. I mean, I would had a nice, well thought out thing to say, but then you started speaking, and you just completely infuriated me. The things that I have talked to the new staff about are not being told to them during interviews. They came in not understanding that they were going to be doing forced overtime. You know, people are leaving because they want to go spend time with their newborn children. They're taking jobs that are less pay because they want to be home. I mean, the reason why I haven't left is because I have invested so much time here. Walking away from my retirement and all these kind of things obviously is not viable for me. But you're not being honest to the people you're hiring, and it's not just one person who's saying this, tons of them are. It's like they had no idea they were going to be doing this kind of stuff. You know, when you look at what a person misses over a period of time, some people work 3. I actually volunteer to do my overtime. Now, by the way, volunteer doesn't mean I'm saying I want to work. Volunteer means I am making a decision to work on, say, a Monday and a Wednesday so that I can sleep in between there so I can be safe, so I can drive home safely. Okay, that means that I'm getting held anyway, but I'm trying to manipulate when I can so I can make, you know, my life balance. I want to be home with my family. You know, everybody does. You guys do 40-hour jobs. You guys get to go home. And, you know, and if you're retired and whatnot, great. You know, people want to get there. People want to have a professional job. We also want to be treated professionally. Okay? Think of the things that you miss. You miss your kids' t-ball games, basketball games, Cub Scouts, Girl Scouts. I miss my kids' parent-teacher conferences. I miss my mom's cancer treatments because I couldn't get time off. Think about somebody that you know who's had cancer who needed somebody to be there. I have a great wife. She went for me. It was my job. I'm not stopping until I'm done, just so you can count it as long as you want. Okay? And yes, I don't mean to be rude,
but we've been disrespected. I mean, what, 4 or 5 years, it has impacted people differently. And because it's COVID, doesn't explain why this
Albert,
situation
you gotta
happened.
stop.
No.
You gotta stop.
Can you explain it? You tell me
Gotta
COVID
stop.
is what created this situation? It has not.
Come on, you gotta stop.
So listen, what I'm telling you is, everybody that works for
Stop.
the sheriff's department is important. You are too. And you deserve to be treated respectfully, and I apologize.
Thank you for your comments.
But we're important, and we want to be treated respectfully.
Well, thank you.
I
and Thank you
apologize.
for your comments.
You guys have a good evening.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the county. My name is Scott Gibbons, 27 years with the county. I'm tired. My wife wants me to quit. I don't know why I stay. The money isn't worth it. I've already been through 1 divorce. This job was part of that. And my wife is begging me to quit. Understand what these people have to go through on a daily basis. You look at us in little old Maine, safe Maine. We don't have to deal with the big stuff in the other counties and the big states. That's baloney. This state is taking in so much out of state, the real crime that we consider New York, Massachusetts. We have the federal prisoners, we have immigration prisoners. We have traffickers coming in and out of our place. This is the real deal. These people don't care about us. They see us as kind of a joke in the sense of, this is all you got? Back us up. Do something real to make an impact, to get some people to want to stay and want to apply. And feel, when we feel good, you want to talk about having a culture, the new people are going to feel good. How the hell can we lie to these people and say, this is, stick in there, guys? We're tired. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Are there any other people that wish to speak this evening?
I was going to wait until it's time for staff, but these folks may not be here. These are the people that have kept the jail going for the last 5 or 6 years. And, you know, I see the face of tiredness every time I interact with them. I understand they're frustrated. You know, I go to a meeting with prosecutors and they want more. I go to a meeting with judges, they want more. They want the jail that we had pre-2019, because it really started trailing off pre-COVID. As a corrections professional that I have a lot of respect for that retired, these folks work the toughest beat in the criminal justice system. When I worked 8 hours, I was maybe with an inmate or an arrestee for an hour. And I dropped them off to these folks, and these folks had to deal with those individuals for the rest of the day. I've, other than a half a dozen shifts, never worked a day in my life, but I see what these folks are doing. So I do feel like I've got to stand up here and tell you that it's real. You know, the count is edging up there. We're doing our best to try to keep it down. Police departments want to bring everybody in. The feds want to bring everybody in. And all of those folks that use the jail have their expectations, and I've tried to tamp that down a little bit because I see tired. So, you know, I know that you saw frustration and maybe not adhering to the 3 minutes. And Officer Ryder apologized, but, you know, I think it's important that you hear from them because I read the coattails. I don't like that we're at the staffing level we're at. I will say that we have hired people, but we're losing institutional knowledge because we've got a lot of retirees, we've got a lot of people that have been ill. To add to that, in the last 4 months, we've had 4 retirees pass away, and that plays on your mind too. Not one, not two, but four. It's bad, a bad run. So the folks that are my age, they're sitting there saying, hey, is it really all worth that? So I stand here to publicly say that you have busted your butts for the last 6 years. You are the glue that's held the place together, and it doesn't go unnoticed by me, and I'm sure it doesn't go unnoticed by the commissioners. And we're trying everything we can do to hire. This is not a Cumberland County issue. It's, I just come back from a sheriff's conference, and all sheriffs are frustrated with hiring, both law enforcement and corrections. And I'm always probing, what is it that we can do to hire people and keep them? We have to get over a hump so that people aren't being held 2 or 3 times a week. But I also, when I talk to some staff, we all need to be trying to recruit. And I know I hear the old, I can't tell people to come work here when I'm tired and I feel unwanted, but until we can get over a hump and get more people in there, that's when we can start backing off on the mandated overtime and move in a progressive way. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kevin. Is there anybody else that wishes to speak? Then we'll close to the... Oh.
I'm a corrections professional for 37 years. These people work the toughest beat. They make it work every day, no matter what the challenges are. And I just want to acknowledge that.
Anyone else? Then I'll close the session. Thank you very much. I appreciate the comments. These are things that we need to hear. And you've honestly tried to put your point across, and I think if you had been in other discussions with us as commissioners, you would have understand that we understand. So thank you. All right. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda.
Move passage of this 2505, 6, 7, 8, and 9.
Second?
Is every commissioner satisfied with the knowledge you have? No discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. The next item we have is ARPA business, and it's item 2501 and 011. And Bill, I believe you're on the docket.
I have quite a few, so which one is this one?
This is the award bid to Bisson for the moving services for
Okay.
27 Northwood.
And you're not just gonna use a pickup truck and?
Yeah, honestly, it might be easier sometimes, because this is gonna be an event to do this. So, this is to move all of our county services in various locations to the one admin building at North Court. We went out to bid with a mandatory pre-bid walkthrough at our most difficult site, which is the Registry of Deeds. They have the most stuff that needs to get moved. It's going to be a challenge, and the rest of the stuff that we're going to be moving is not very large. It's personal totes. It's people's personal belongings, because most of the people that are moving there are going to only have to bring their personal belongings and a laptop. So this is not necessarily a large, grand move. It's just going to be very tricky of who we move, when, and how fast. So we went out to bid, pre-bid walkthrough. We had 2 vendors show up to view the site, which was, one was Bisson Movin', and the other one was Earl W. Noyes. They both sent in proposals. Both are fantastic companies, by the way. But the value for what we need to move for items and the timeline in which we gave them, we just figured Bisson fiscally was the most responsible and the most responsive to our questions that they submitted us and we returned with answers, so.
I guess I need the motion that's here, if
So
somebody.
moved.
All right.
Second?
For the public's sake, authorization of the county manager to award a bid and enter into a contract between Cumberland County and Bisson INR Commercial Services for the office moving services to 27 Northport Drive, Portland, to be funded with ARPA funds. Second on that?
Yes. Second?
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none,
Aye.
Aye.
it's unanimous.
Don't sit down, Bill.
Don't sit down.
I'd like a motion to authorize this county manager to award bid and enter into a contract between Cumberland County and the Bureau Veritas of the Facilities Condition Assessment, FCA, and design and build a new computer maintenance management system with capital assets forecasting in the amount of $93,000 using ARPA funds.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Bill, you want to indicate a little bit more about?
Yeah, so for the past couple of years, I've brought to, we've discussed internally with the county manager and deputy manager about how can we be more fiscally responsible with the facilities that we own. I think over the past years before I came on board is we kind of try to do a best guess of what condition our current facilities are in and the assets in which lie in them, which is the air handlers, cooling towers, anything that makes the building operate. You know, we got building facade, windows, roof. It's the full gamut. So they authorized me to go out to bid for a facilities condition assessment to give us a snapshot in time of where we're at. So basically, that'll give us the age and any data that is currently in place. It'll give us a data tracker for anything that we want to do to that for maintenance, and it'll also track it'll track financially what work we do we put into those units. And like I said, we really never have gone through that. Recently, the most recent one that I've seen is we did the parking garage, which basically gave us a 10-year capital improvement plan and broke it down into phases. So that was kind of a good way for us to gauge on how much we probably should think about putting into the garage on a yearly basis. We went out to bid for this before that, and it also included the computer management system, which is basically a work order system with capital and financial planning purposes. So for instance, if this will give me more data to provide you folks, the county manager, and others that make the decision on items, of real numbers of what the investment is going to look like for years to come. You know, I use the adage, I hate going to the county manager and say, hey, you know, we just had something, break down and I need X amount of dollars. This forecasting is going to give me that data to basically say, hey, you know, in the next 3 to 5 years, we're going to need X. So that's the basis for the facilities assessment and that computer management system. We had 5 folks submit proposals. We interviewed 3, and we basically felt that the Bureau Veritas were folks that we really, really want to work with. They have worked locally with a lot of other Maine municipalities, and some of their references they gave were glowing on them. And we're talking by September, theoretically, to have everything in place. So it's going to be a quick turnaround. It's a 6-week discovery for all the facilities, and it's the rest of the time is working with staff to facility staff to make these as easy and workable as possible, and it'll help us with tracking.
Any questions, Bill? Bill, I have a question. Oops, excuse me. Go ahead.
That's okay, you go first.
Bill, when you say facilities, you're just talking about our standard structures, right?
I'm talking about everything. So I'm talking about the full gamut.
You're talking about rolling stock also?
Correct.
So the vehicles will be part
The
of it.
vehicles are a portion of that we are going to do on the back end of this. They are able to do that, but we felt that because we do have iWorks is a system that we currently have.
Yep.
It tracks as a, like you had mentioned previous, as an Excel sheet. We can provide finance that, finance can have the access to that for billables. This is our main item that we want to focus on. They have the ability to bring this in on the back end. I feel like we already have that in place. We need to get this, because this is, in my opinion, because obviously I'm going to be biased, facilities. The facilities is one that I really want to wrap my head around so we can get a good gauge of where we're at. But yes, fleet is definitely on my radar to add to this.
Okay. Is there any other, what do you call it, portion or part of that program that we should be considering?
No, because the pricing that it came in under is giving us everything.
Okay.
Barcoding, you name it. I think the last discussion we talked about as an asset of adding to cross-insurance arena too, so we can use that as just having that knowledge of a snapshot in time to base future decisions on what we need to do.
Great. So I think this is a great investment. I particularly like the idea that we wrap our arms around exactly what we have for assets, whether the buildings or vehicles or wherever they might be. But what I'm excited about is, what I'm hearing, I think, is it's a predictive model. So what you're saying is that this software has the capacity to put in the data, and let's say we know the life of a certain asset is 7 years or 12 years. Obviously, it helps on the financial side, but it's going to help us on the investment side so that we know when we're budgeting in 2030, what's coming up, what have we done, and that's where I think we'll have a better handle on our budget in terms of when people are looking for things or where are we can make a better decision that maybe it's not time yet based on the predictive model that this
Correct.
software gives us. Would that be correct? Okay.
That is correct, and basically once the implementation of the data points from the FCA are incorporated into this, it'll
Right, we'll spit it out.
immediately.
Right.
Immediately, and it's going over 1,000 data points per asset, which is, it can give you a 40-year model right off the bat. And honestly, whoever has access to it can put in whatever they're looking for, and it will give you 1,000 different ways of capital planning.
Great. Sounds fast.
Any further questions?
No.
Seeing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Bill, I think you have one more.
Oh, yeah, he's got 3 or 4.
Two more. I was trying to help you out.
I know you are. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
I'd like a motion to authorize the county manager to award a bid and enter into a contract between Cumberland County and Krisha Construction for vehicle impact repairs in the amount to be determined.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Bill?
So this is, the vehicle impact was a patron of the garage that mistakenly hit the perimeter barrier on the 4th floor. So luckily, the infrastructure in place helped the vehicle not go off the edge, but it pretty much destroyed the edge. We did everything we can to make it safe, secure, and still operable. We had to change, due to the age of the garage, we had to re-engineer the facade. And that takes time, as all things change in construction, they don't build that stuff anymore like that. So we had to re-engineer it. So that's why it took so long. This happened in, March of 20.
So it's February
So it's
2024.
almost been, so it's been almost a year. And we went out to bid, this is the second time we went out to bid for this. The first time, there was so much work on all the vendors' plates that we had nobody that wanted to, nobody submitted bids for it. This company actually did the phase 1 of our garage. So, this is. And the price is $168,000.
That's what I was gonna say, the price of 168,000.
Correct.
Is that what the risk pool, like this damage, what did it came in at, is the same as the
So,
repair?
so this does not include, so this contract is for 168 for them.
Right,
It was over 30,000 in engineering services to get this done, which risk pool is working. It is an insurance claim.
that's what I was wondering.
Yep,
So-
it is an
so-
insurance claim.
So it's an insurance claim, but we're still gonna have to take out, in addition to the insurance claim, 168,000?
No, this is the amount. So,
Oh, okay.
Alex, correct me if I'm wrong, but we have to pay this out first for
And
risk
then
pool
get
to
paid back,
reimburse.
the full 168. That's all I wanted to know. Is we're getting paid in full?
Correct. Yep.
Great,
Yep,
thank
it's
you.
dollar for dollar.
Great. Thank you.
All those budget lines are probably gonna look a little weird until we get them.
Yeah.
Any
Right.
further questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion to authorize the county manager to award and bid for architecture and engineering services and enter into a contract between Cumberland County and Thornton Tomasini for the jail roof and courthouse window replacement for an estimated $5 million.
So moved. Oh,
Second.
forgive me.
Bill?
Okay, so after discussions with the county manager and assistant manager about our future bonds that were coming up, we really looked at
I've been on some-
what is the biggest impact that we can take off our shoulders for
So moved.
the next 30 years.
Looking at each other.
The jail roof has always been that one that we've had to push aside every bond because something else came up. Well, we're 34 years into the jail roof. We've done all of our parts to try to prevent it from leaking by doing repairs and having discussions and trying to earmark things. The jail roof and I say it's the north side of the state side of the courthouse windows. We're doing an air handler and the controls. It would be really upsetting to me if we're putting brand new air handler in and we're putting the AC outside or the heat outside when we need to trap that inside. So we went out to bid. We had 2 vendors that submitted proposals. Based off their percentages, we decided to go with Thornton Tomasetti. It did say 5 million, but I don't believe it's that much. They base it off a $5 million price because they did not know the amount in which we were looking to set aside. So those percentages are based. Their percentages are the same, but the amount obviously out of pocket on top of the project was based off $5 million. The percentage is the same, but the amount that is being charged will obviously differ.
Questions?
Did I understand you to say that they have a percentage that applies to the job and the amount of the job or the amount that we're going to devote to the job has not yet been determined?
So, correct. We've had preliminary pricing on our own, thinking we might be able to do this in previous bonds and not knowing what that escalation cost is from previous bond estimates. I wouldn't even want to guess what the jail roof is going to cost. I would say 30% more. I would say 30% more than what it was before.
That's fine, just, it's a percentage deal and we don't
It
know
is. It is.
what
It's
the
about
percentage is gonna apply to.
Yeah, it's about 7.6. It's a little over 7.5% of the cost of the general project.
Any other questions? Bill, I've got one.
Sure.
The installation of the windows, like this here, we did here, this is installation complete, they're totally responsible for it, the measurements, the construction?
So-
Right. Well, that's all I wanted to know.
Yeah, so these are special windows, so this is going to be tricky.
Yeah, okay.
Very tricky. Yep.
Any other questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
I guess we can let you off the hook now.
I'll be back in about a minute.
All right. Well, why don't we take a rest for
5 more
5
to go.
minutes? We'll take a rest for 5 minutes.
Okay. Amy, you all right?
Yeah.
Fund Jail and Cross Insurance Arena Budget.
So moved.
So move, okay.
Second? Whatever.
Second.
Let's get this straight.
Motion, second. Mr. Manager.
Thank you. We're bringing forth the final budget for the 2025-2026 budget year, which starts July 1st of 2025 and goes to June 30th, 2026. The budget essentially is unchanged since the November presentation of the proposed manager's budget. During the period of time between November and this evening, the Finance Committee, made up of 4 individuals who represent towns, either through select board or councils, met to review the proposed budget and offer any recommendations or conditions upon their review. They met 3 times, November 19th, December 10th, and January 21st. At their January 21st meeting, they voted 4-0 to recommend the budget as proposed. The commissioners, on February 3rd of this year, held a workshop to further talk about the budget and have instructed staff to bring forth the proposed, or the final budget, in the packet this evening for approval this evening. Just to give a snapshot of total expenditures, the total expenditures are up 6.22%, equating to a needs from taxes increase of just over $3 million, or 7.74% for 2025. Thank you.
Any questions? Seeing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Now, there's a second part to this. It's to, and I want a motion to approve the 5-year capital improvement plan, including expenditures of $299,600 in non-debt CIP.
So moved.
Second.
Who, Jim, is that you, or is?
No, that is, if we could kind of rewind a little bit and revert to the sheet here. Under the 25-014, if both those motions could be read, and a single vote can be taken, but I think, just for the record, we need to have both motions read into the record and voted on.
So-
I appreciate that.
I'd be glad to read it.
Sure, but what was the vote for?
That was 4-0, but I think we just need to read what's
Oh, okay.
into this, so,
Bring it in? Yeah, okay.
yeah, bring it in.
So we have that motion, or I guess what, sub-motion? And another one, Cumberland County Commissioners move to set the budget for budget year 25-26. And it's as follows, with a summary budget from all sources, gross of $75,491,013.
74 million.
Should be 74.
Isn't that what I said?
You said 75.
Oh, what's?
Well, that included the commissioner's raise, right?
Yeah.
$74,491,013.
Apologize for that.
It's okay.
Okay, so.
You need a motion?
No, the previous motion was 4-0, right?
Yeah, okay.
On that?
So we had a motion for the 5-year capital budget. Those in favor?
Aye.
And again, maybe we want to read that in, just to be
Okay,
sure.
this one, so the second one is Cumberland County Commissioners move to set the budget for the budget year 25-26 as follows: $74,491,013. Those in favor?
Aye.
We didn't have a second for that. Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay.
I'm just doing
Separate
Stillby.
motion.
So-
Be read out for the capital improvement plan. Does that happen?
We already
think-
did it. We did it first.
So maybe we can do that again. We've done this 3 times already on.
I know, I'm
It's actually been
like,
read. Okay, my bad, I got confused.
So it's a motion to set the capital budget at, for capital improvement at $299,600 for a 5 year.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So that's passed twice, but you don't collect it. All right. 2015, authorize the issuance of 25-26 budget cost of living adjustment for 3% to elected officials and sheriff appointment.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion?
Yeah, I'd just point out that that's the same cost of living that all the non-union employees are receiving, but this particular motion is required because of, we have the discretionary status related to these compensated people. So it needs a separate approval for elected officials.
Any further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Item 2516, approve the 25-26 jail budget to exceed the 4% growth limitation factor.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion?
Yes, this is a state law that says that that nothing costs more than 4%. And there's some disagreement about whether that's true. And we are annually required, if our budget for that activity involves more than a 4% increase, to pass a motion indicating that we know that and we're going to do it anyway. That's what this is.
Any further discussion?
No.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. 24-115, board commission, committee assignments. I believe we have copies here.
Yep.
So we gotta approve these, or if people have questions about it, whatever. Okay. Can I have a motion to pass these committee assignments?
So moved.
Second?
Discussion? Those in favor?
Oh, no, I was going to point out, Commissioner Tyler isn't here, so anyone that has the need to jump from something to,
Yeah, just
he's
move him
apparently
around.
available. Yeah, but,
I do have a quick question. Is that emergency food and shelter program still in existence, or is? See, halfway down, it's,
emergency planning.
the EFSP United Way, and it was Jameson and Travis, right here. And then you didn't have anyone there, and I didn't know if that was not in existence anymore, or.
That's United
Sure.
Way. Huh?
I'm not sure. Is it?
So
Travis is
still
doing
there?
it. I'll do it if you want, need someone to do it. I don't care.
Well, how do you want? I mean,
Yeah, I was
is it-
looking at the,
It's,
Mr. Gailey.
yeah, because aren't you on the United Way board?
I was.
You was.
I stepped back.
Okay.
Things got a little busy, and so I had to step back.
Yeah.
We still participate in a number of committees, Travis and I, for United Way, but not the full board.
Okay.
Or track 27.
So if you want to.
Yeah, I'll take it if you
Alright.
need someone.
Unless somebody else wants it. Or-
I don't see anyone jumping.
So that relieves Travis, right?
Travis can serve as backup.
Yeah, he can be my proxy, or whatever you guys call it.
Yep.
so moved.
So, can I have a motion to accept the commissioner's assignment
Yes,
as
so
amended?
moved. So moved.
Second?
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Comments? I do this reverse because the manager is, can I have from the executive staff? Teresa? You have any comments for us tonight?
I do not have much change from the last time, so.
Alex?
Couple of sort of very different things. Right now, I have no news to report on the state of our various state and federal grants. Nothing has changed, but we're still in a very anxious waiting pattern with two of the grants in particular. Like I said, We're monitoring it by the day. We've reached out to some of the subrecipients, given that we cannot be as confident of future funding as we have been in the past. And so we've had to pick our spots very carefully. It's been some difficult discussions, but we have not lost hope that perhaps this will work out eventually okay. So I'll keep it short on that one. Just don't be shocked by more updates on that front. On a happier note.
Can I ask a quick question through the chair? Have we talked to the congressional delegation about?
Yeah, there's been letters out to them.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Our grants are not necessarily in a spot where anything has happened one way or the other, so we
Okay.
have to be very careful.
Yes, I understand that.
Yeah.
But I just was wondering. Okay.
On a happier note, Northport was an absolute madhouse this morning with about, I think I counted 6 different groups of contractors all doing various things, and deliveries of carpeting and office supplies and lighting being tested, so it was, the project manager was having a miserable morning getting spun around by a top, like a top, but I was happy otherwise. That's all I got.
You bring up the thing of the budget, and I would like to say this out loud here so that if anybody's watching. We passed this budget, but I think my thought is, at least personally, is that given the chaos within the funding governmental budgets that we are dealing with, this budget may change if their changes become catastrophic. I think that's just got to be said, so that people have an understanding that, should all of a sudden they're not going to give us any funds to do the work that they've contracted for, we're going to be in a world of hurt, and to continue on doing as we need to do, just for ethical reasons, it's going to cost. And if we can't get it one place, we'll be forced to go to the tax bucket that's property tax versus the state income, the state sales, or the federal income, or whatever. So I just wanted to have that right out there on the floor. Let's see. Catherine. Amy.
Just an update. We have obviously 4 negotiations going on right now. The jail's correction unit that we just saw and heard from, they broke off talks 3 weeks ago and have indicated that they're going to appeal to mediation. We haven't heard anything yet from the NLRB or the mediation board, but I'm assuming we should get that any day. Our second session with the Teamsters Jail Supervisors Unit will be next week. And the Teamsters Patrol Unit will be next week as well, and that'll be the third session. I anticipate both of those units will be, I'll be coming to you for some guidance in March at the March Commissioners meeting. Dispatch, we had our third session with dispatch. Probably have to have one more meeting before I come and ask for guidance on that. If not in March, it'll be in April, but I might do all 3 in March just to rip off the Band-Aid. And, yeah, might as well.
The notice.
Yeah, might as well. And so that's what's going on right now.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Yep.
You certainly got your work cut out for you. Start with the commissioners, unless your friend beside you there, I can't see his name tag, I'm sorry, man.
I have nothing, thank you.
All right. Not a thing, huh?
Not a thing.
Jim?
Well, I'm pleased to announce that winter is almost over. Other than that, I don't have anything. Thank you.
Jean Marie?
Yeah, Steve and I have been very busy with the legislative policy work, following, oh my God, all the bills. The first year of the sessions, the two-year sessions are always crazy. Jail funding is at the top of our list for really making sure we work together with, and I'm looking at the sheriff, with the Sheriff's Association and whomever,
MMA.
well, an MMA, to make sure we're all, and I know I use this term a lot, rowing in the same direction, because we need to do that. Particularly this year, this budget year is going to be a tough one with the state. I know it was like having the fire hose in front of me. You know, here I am new to the county, and I'm going, whoa, okay, what do I need to know for the county? But I want to thank Steve and Andre Heeman, that was my old French teacher, Andre Cushing, been very, very, helpful and whatever. Anything that I'm forgetting, Steve? I know you guys have been meeting tomorrow morning, and regretfully, I can't make the meeting tomorrow morning, but.
Yeah, we go over the new bills that have come forth, and as I recall, there's been almost 2,000 bills put in this legislature.
Which is typical.
And, yeah, but that's just the beginning.
I know, I know.
It's ridiculous.
But the cool thing is that we are hoping to work with the MSA and the Maine Municipal more than they have in the past, which I think is really interesting and cool since I was on MMA legislative for 10 years. So I'm looking forward to doing more together.
And I apologize, Kevin, I couldn't see you behind the thing. Do you have some comments you'd like to?
Well, I pretty much spoke my piece earlier, but just want to update you that we have 95 federal inmates in the jail. About 70 or a little more have been ICE inmates.
70 are ICE?
70
or more.
Are ICE.
ICE inmates. And they're constantly moving them. So one of the things I learned at the sheriff's conference, well, I didn't learn it, but I was talking to a sheriff, and the reality is that ICE is very closed-lipped about what they do. And quite frankly, I went to a couple of presentations, and if they were just outward and let people know, there wouldn't be this stir craziness or people being upset and stuff. The latest one was, why are they moving people from Cumberland County to Texas? I don't know. I mean, why does the state police move somebody from one jail to the other? So that's what my answer has been. But, it's all these things that just people, the media picks up on.
Right.
And, the feds can easily say, we're not commenting, but then it trickles down to me trying to explain, or in some cases, I'm not going to explain what they do. So we're at 95 today. I think there's a little bit more capacity in that pod because some of them have been split up, women and certain other areas. But again, ICE is aware and the marshal's aware. When we fill that pod up, that's it. We're done. So because they got to do it for the staff,
Right.
as you can see tonight. So thank you. Any questions or anything I can answer? Or anything?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Again, I apologize. Patty?
Thank you. Just maybe three things I just want to touch upon during this wrap-up time. One, I had a really fascinating, informational, educational tour at the jail. I want to thank the sheriff for setting that up. And it was interesting to, kind of get a boots on the ground, eye view of the facility, what it takes, meeting some of the folks who are, dedicating their day to what happens within the jail. So I found that really, again, very educational. I appreciate the opportunity. Second of all, I just want to say thank you to the county manager and all the executive staff who have worked really hard on a really difficult budget. I know there wasn't a lot of discussion tonight. Clearly, all the finance budget meetings and the county manager has kept us apprised throughout the process, throughout these past couple of months, so there were no real surprises, really just bringing us along in terms of what the difficulties were, what the challenges were. And I think, I want to just say there's a lot of hard work that goes behind all that, all the detail, all of the input that needs to come from directors through the executive staff. And I want to thank you for all the hard work, because budgets are not easy. And I think we did an excellent job here in terms of trying to figure out where our future's going, despite the unknowns out there. So thanks to all of those who put that budget together. And lastly, just want to say, I think it's, really appreciate the level of professionalism here in the county in terms of, it's always hard to deal with potential issues that come up or things that are beyond our control, and some things that are just going to be unknowns to us within the next, I don't know, months or years. And I really appreciate all the professionalism that people are able to just kind of continue to put their head down, do good work, support one another, and recognize that things aren't as normal as they used to be maybe, but we're still here to serve the residents of Cumberland County and do the best of our ability regardless of whatever hurdles might come our way. So I'm proud to be here with the county, and I think there's some great work being done, and hopefully we can continue. Thank you.
Well said, thank you. You can see the professional staff that I'm working with, meaning the other commissioners here, they take all the fire that I have. One thing that I will mention is that I really appreciate the staff and the direction that the county is taking in moving forward for forward issues. Like you heard Bill talk tonight about getting a new system that's going to give us further data on what our expenditures are going to be in capital and et cetera, so that kind of planning can take place. You see what Teresa has just done with the payroll system, et cetera, and how that's coming to fruition and what that's going to do for us. And I hope that we keep that drive going. If there are other places where we can automate and get more information that allows us to make better decisions so that we can better serve the public and make it easier for our staff in collecting the data and then having it manipulated so that it gives us good decision matter. I can't say enough for that. Having worked in a number of organizations where it was a bear to get the information, and then you had to make a decision without it. So congratulations to the staff and to this commission for taking that on. And I hope, Sheriff, if you've got some areas down there that you would like to see some automation take place, that you'd call on us and the staff to take a look at that. Because it's necessary. It's necessary. In fact, I think you've got something coming up with the state, haven't you, with the gym system? Maybe at some time you can.
There was a meeting last Wednesday that myself and Captain Fergon and Lieutenant Jordan went to, trying to refine some of that information down. I mean, a lot of pie in the sky areas that they wanted information on, but we tried to say, let's start with something you absolutely need now and then build upon it. Because, again, it takes about, one of the counties, Androscoggin, it's taken them about 3 hours to do that one document per day. And they have about half of what we have. So I think we all agreed, let's walk slowly and then start running after that. So hopefully, I know there's a meeting coming up. I don't know where. So
Good, thank you.
Just the facts, basically.
Yeah, one of the things I saw and read about is that it gets to to Jean Marie's issue of churn.
Oh, gosh, yeah, in the jails, geez, yeah.
With that, I have nothing further, unless, does anybody have something for the good of the order? Oh, James, great, Peters. I said I'd hold you to last, and I guess I hold you to real last.
Just two quick items. The first is a little exciting field trip this morning that I participated in with Aaron Pelletier and Melinda Fairbrother Dyer from the Communications Center. We visited RCM, which is our radio company, and we had seen a very rough beta testing of a portable radio system about 6 or 7 months ago when we were working with them for our new radio program, radio system. And we thought it was pretty cool, so we wanted a part of it. And today they They rolled it off the assembly line and provided us a tutorial of the system. And this system is in a hard box. It looks like a suitcase, and you can wheel it anywhere. And as long as you have Wi-Fi or a internet connection, you can dispatch radio calls anywhere in the world.
Wow.
They have tested this routinely. They actually had one person drive around in their vehicle with it as the other one was talking on a radio in a separate vehicle heading in opposite directions in the state of Maine. This will allow us to set up a radio system in the Cumberland Fairgrounds or the Naples Causeway or any large event that a extra capacity for a radio system would be beneficial in. It's from RCM's standpoint, it is the first in New England, if not the United States.
Wow.
And they have had numerous discussions, and they're looking forward to seeing how we test it out, enjoy it, and see what our feedback is, because there's many in the wings wanting the same system. And so it was pretty cool seeing how it all worked today at their shop. So I want to share that. We'll be sending out pictures, and we'll be posting on our social media accounts in the coming days. The second item I have is that every spring we run Leadership Academy classes. The Cumberland County has teamed up with SMCC since I've arrived, and we have either offered one or two classes during the months of March through June. This year we're running two classes, a March and April class and a May and June class. It is a 7-week class, 1 day a week, full day for the participants. And over the two classes that we're running, we have 35 government employees participating. Of those, 12 are county employees, and 10 towns are also sending employees. And those 10 towns could be 1 employee up to 3 employees. And so it's another good showing. It is a very worthwhile training. A lot of employees go into it very hesitant, but the minute they get in there, they rave about it. And we hear a lot of great comments about what they've learned over that 7-week intensive. So looking forward to kicking that off. The first class is March 12th in the first cohort. So this year, I teamed up with SMCC, and we were able to obtain a grant through the Alpine Workforce Development Program, and we were able to offer all 35 participants 100% tuition free.
Oh, wow.
And so
Nice.
the only thing that communities or the county will be responsible for is the small amount of money for lunch in the SMCC cafeteria day of the classes. So a big coup, and I appreciate the help of SMCC for getting that grant. So that concludes my communications. Thanks.
Cool.
My
I-
apologies to you too.
One question about that grant, is that that annual grant, or is that a multi-year grant, potentially?
Last year, we received it and paid 50% of the tuition.
Okay,
It's
right.
been something that's been around for 2 or 3 years now, and it's been 50%, 100%.
Okay.
This year it was 100%. It was,
Great.
And that's why we're running 2 classes.
Right.
We're trying to get as many government employees in as possible.
Nice.
Great.
Do you have anything else for the good of the order?
Mm-mm.
Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Adjourned.